guys, Angel here. So excited about this video for obvious reasons. We are talking about sex. I mean, come on. Okay. Also, all jokes aside, but seriously. So a couple years ago, I taught a class called How to Master Your Mornings. And for those of you who, number one, are not afraid to talk about sex and you find it, it's like troubling to wake up early in the morning and you don't know your purpose yet and you kind of still fumble through life, mastering your mornings is an amazing, amazing class for you to get. And I'll link the link to purchase that class in the description box below. But a couple years ago, when I taught that class, I got a question, and I still get the question about masturbation and religion, and sex and religion. And I wanted to be talking about this because I know that there are so many people that struggle with this issue. And I know that the Bible is not specific when it talks about masturbation. And I get that there's a lot of people that want to stay away from that topic and not talk about it because I guess it's so taboo and nobody really talks about it. Well, I like talking about it because it's one of the things that makes you feel the closest to God. I know you guys are like, what? Sex makes you feel close to God? Yes, it does. When you are having sex and you're at that height of vibration and that level of intimacy and that level of connectivity, you are experiencing the closest feelings that you can possibly get here on earth to total full-blown ecstasy. Now, if that doesn't excite you to want to go and be with your spouse tonight, I don't know what does. Anyway, okay, so talking about your religion and masturbation and sex. Now, if you are a healthy person mentally when it comes to sex, I believe that this video can help you. However, if you are a person that is troubled by something in your past that happened to you sexually, and as an adult you still struggle with it today, this video may be a little bit too light and fluffy for you. However, so I did not have my first orgasm until I was 30 years old. And I had started having sex at the ripe old age of 14. So from 14 until 30, you guys, I was having sex and nothing was really happening for me. Things were happening for other people, but not for me. And it wasn't until I went to the doctors, I was in my late 20s, and I went to the doctors and expressed my concern to him, like, I've never had an orgasm and sex really doesn't feel that great to me. Like, I could take it or leave it. And so when I went to the doctors, he did all of these tests on me because oftentimes a sexually transmitted disease can prevent you from reaching your total orgasmic state when you're having sex. There's a lot of things that can filter into you not being able to climax. And so what the doctor said to me, he said, well, how often do you please yourself, Angel? And I was like, doctor, are you supposed to be asking me that question here? Well, the answer that I gave him was none. Like, I didn't at the time. I didn't. The answer was a big fat zero, which was kind of why I was a little taken aback by the question that he asked me, and kind of a little offended because I didn't have my answer for him was a big fat zero. And so what he said to me was that it's really difficult to want someone else to be able to please you when you don't even know how to please yourself. And I'm like, you know what? Duh. I teach this stuff. I live this stuff. Like, I know that you are the best teacher to other people. You give people a blueprint on how to treat you. But when it came to sex, I was like, I didn't make the correlation or the connection when it came to sex. And so when he said that, in my mind, I'm like, but I'm a female. I don't turn myself on. Like, how do you turn yourself on to get yourself to that ecstasy state? Well, it takes practice. And it takes a lot of practice. Well, congratulations, Angel. I did finally achieve my orgasmic state all alone. My husband wasn't there. It was just me and my thoughts, which leads me to one of the reasons why a lot of people stay away from masturbation and sex when it comes to their religion. More particular, the masturbation piece, because it takes a lot of specific focused thought in order to achieve that state. Now, we know that in scripture it says, as a man thinketh, so is he. And so when you think on a thing too long, sometimes you will start to want to take action on that thing. And so a lot of people, if they cannot control their thoughts sexually to kind of keep them as pure as they possibly can, and they start to straying off into these sexual scenarios that are against who they really are. Like, what I mean is, like, if it's something that you really wouldn't do in real life and it's just a fantasy, a lot of times people are afraid of that because it can lead them down that road. And I agree 110% about that. Now, today I feel okay about the masturbation piece, and I am a married woman. However, God may prick my heart later, 10 years from now or 5 years from now, or even tomorrow, to tell me that that's something that that I should not share with others, as it being something is okay to do. Not that I'm giving you guys permission, but what I'm saying is, if you've never felt ecstasy yourself or with yourself, you may need to take that time to be with yourself a couple times to get to know what it is that you like, so you can, because we are the best teacher to other people. And so in order to be able to experience that level of ecstasy, if you have not already, you may need to do it all by yourself. So then when you are intimate with your spouse, and I am very specific when I say intimate with your spouse, I do not condone premarital sex, or sex between couples that are not married. That's just how I feel about it, even though I did not practice that myself. As you get older, you get better, and you want to share a different message to the people that are coming behind you. So I do not condone just going around sleeping all willy-nilly with anybody. But if you are a married person, I definitely encourage you being alone by yourself. If the ecstasy, the orgasm, is something that you have never experienced, you're going to need to spend that time alone. Now, I will say that too much of that as a married couple can damage your sex life in your bedroom. Because if I, say for instance, if I am taking care of myself all the time whenever I feel the need to, what about my husband? And so I've heard my pastor preached how masturbation can be a selfish act. And so it really depends on what perspective you look at. It can be a selfish act. It can be an act that people use to keep them faithful in their marriage. It can be a learning tool, like I'm sharing with you guys now. So it really comes down to the individual, because too much of anything can turn into a bad thing. I wholeheartedly believe that. I believe that if you go to church too much, that can be a bad thing. And I believe if you don't ever go to church, that can be a bad thing. I believe that when there is balance with things, then everything tends to run a little bit more smoothly. But what I would say at the end of the day, if you struggle with your sexuality and totally being comfortable in the bedroom with your spouse, pray about it. Ask God to give you the confidence and the comfortability to be able to share yourself at that level with the person that you have committed to spending the rest of your life with. Now, I know that there are a lot of people that have grown up in religions that have told them that sex was bad and like you shouldn't do it and like don't do it at all. And to those people, I would like to say sorry. Number one, because God gave us this gift. This is supposed to be a beautiful thing for us to experience. So if you've been taught that, that's really going to be an extra big hurdle that you will have to get over in order to start enjoying your body and pleasing yourself, if you're not at a point where you have taught someone else how to do that. As far as the masturbation piece goes, I know for a fact that I would not have been able to reach that climax had I did not spend that time alone with myself. So it really does fall back on you. How does it feel to your spirit? Because scripture says absolutely nothing about it. So if you are the type of person that can't control your thoughts to a certain point, and when you go into that time alone and you come out of it and you want to interact everything that you just imagined, masturbation may be something that may not be good for you until you can get your mind strong enough to know that This is a session, so to speak, that I'm having with myself. This is a love session. This is all about me. This is all about pleasing me right now, and not about going to act that out on someone else. Now, I know that there's going to be a lot of conversation about this, and I am all the way here for it. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next video.